Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Season 3, Episode
13. Lucky 13.
We forgot the clacker.
Oh, yeah. Where is that thing?
See, and we did it
Where is that thing? The garage is empty.
Well, we just got change of foot here, Ed. You could just tell by looking at the backdrop. Hi, everybody. This is Joe Sebergandio, and you're listening to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. I'm here with the Evil One, Evil Ed.
I can't look up and see the sponsors.
Well, you should know them by now. There's like fucking 6 of them, and we've been doing this for 5 years. Let's start off with the big guy.
Pioneer.
Well, sure. You've always liked Pioneer, you said, because you remember them when you were young.
Yeah, Pioneer. Everyone had Pioneer.
Like mini bikes. Everybody had one.
Bonanzas.
Oh, Pioneer Car Audio, a big shout out to them. I'd like to thank some of our co-sponsors who make this a lot easier for us, help us out a lot of ways. Our friends over at Small Engine Cams.
Small Engine Cams.
Talked to Tim today. Or was it today? Today I talked to him through mail. Talked to him on the phone on Friday.
You got through?
I did. Persistence. You know who else I talked to today?
No.
I talked to Temecula Bob.
You did?
I did. He said to say hi.
Oh, cool. Hi, Bob.
Trying to get him to come out.
I wish he would.
It's still tough, you know, Ed?
Yeah, when you get old.
Yeah, you don't want to
It's
really...
like me. I have a podcast tonight. All right. I just worked freaking 6 hours and freaking tired. All right, I'll go.
I was feeling the same way today, not so much because of the podcast. I was actually looking forward to it. It kept me up. But it was the heat still. Fucking heat cranked back up again.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be triple digits by the end of the week.
But it's nice now. And it's a nice night. Hopefully it's a nice night where you guys are listening in from all over. We're national. Got some good indications that we've got folks coming from all over for the upcoming Joe's Minibike Reunion. Held it right here in beautiful La Crescenta, October the 13th. Brought to you by Pioneer. And I wanted to pick back up on our other sponsors, our friends at Small Engine Cams. Thank you, Tim.
CRC.
CRC,
Go
yep.
Power Sports.
GoPowersports.com.
Studs Motorsports.
Studs Eric, yep. F&B Racing.
F&B Racing.
And we have a few other folks that will be joining us, as well as some other folks that are a big part of the event that are returning. And, you know, it's around this time that I try to assemble the crew. If you start to do it too early, it just doesn't work. You gotta let people go on. It's like, what am I going to do? Start asking you if you're going to help me at my event in July?
Yeah.
So I wait. It's a couple of weeks before. And what that does is that it allows you, the volunteer, to have an out. Because if I really don't circle back to you until 2 weeks before the event, you could have likely have planned something.
Right.
And you know what? You get to do that. Volunteers should never feel like they're begrudgingly going in there to do it, because that's not what it's about. So we have some folks that are coming back. Thank you for all you do and help out. He's going to be able to come this year. Last year he had a full dance card. We have the return of Clarence Barnes. Clarence is the MC. My wife knows him because he hosts many of the popular Days of Our Lives soap opera meet and greets. He's a really cool guy. He has been a part of the music scene, working alongside everybody from like Rick Dees at Kiss FM back in the day, through all the Kanye's and KJ's and all the other, he's in that scene. And he's booked all the time because in addition to his entertainment stuff, he does a lot of stuff on automotive. Engine Masters, where they get the top engine builders from around the U.S.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and they go at it. And that's always really cool. And he hosts that. I did that for a year or two, but I didn't have that deep-rooted technical expertise that you have to have in trying to keep folks entertained while engines are blasting on a dyno. You only go so far with my shtick. You got to have some legitimate Charles Mosley tech, and I never got that way. Clarence does a nice job at adding that element to it, and he'll be with us on the 13th, and that allows me to help out a little bit too. And I'm looking forward to not so much helping out. Usually when the show starts, it's almost as if I can relax. It's that prior to part of it. So I've got some friends who are coming back. Ira, my daughter Nikole and Linda, my sister-in-law Gail, who you know, and Jerry, they'll be coming out. And usually we have the Guzman brothers. And last year I had a good buddy of mine, Matt Fielding, who was a local and he graduated from CV, and he was really well known here. He was just a fun-loving hot rodder. He loved roadkill, and he knew I had a little something to do with that, so I was like a D-celebrity in his mind. And he would reach out every once in a while, and I'd have him come over here, and I'd give him some stuff every year for Christmas or swap some stories with him. He took some nice photos of my fleet line, and I got to know him a little bit, to the point, because he was also a mini biker too, obviously, like everybody. And he was rolling down the 5, that nasty 5 freeway, or interstate, wherever it is, on last Sunday, and he hit a car going south, the right rear of a BMW, and projectiled him into southbound traffic. Bam. And I didn't realize that it was Matt. I was reading local announcements about the fact that they had lost a local CV grad in a tragic accident over the weekend. But I see so much of that shit, I try not to watch it, you know? And it wasn't until I started to go on Facebook, you started to see some of these posts, people non-believing that it had happened. And I read it, it's like, damn. So we lost Matt, and we're going to dedicate this podcast, as well as I do a trophy each year that gives me a chance to put my hat in there, because I don't get involved in the judging. You should have yours, your own, and you just call it Ed's Choice. Want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so we'll do that. I'll make a note. The Ed's Pick, and my the Joey Award is just that. I get to pick no matter why or how come.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna co-sponsor the Joey Award, and it's gonna become the Matt Fielding Award, because Matt's just as crazy as I do. There's a photo of him as a young guy with a big smile. That smile on this guy's face just was what he was all about. So Matt, you probably are doing a couple burnouts in purgatory before they let you upstairs, but knowing you probably got somebody that's a hot rodder or a Harley fan that's up there that'll let you in the back door. So good luck to you, brother. You left us a little bit too soon. So I'm hoping I'm not seeing you too soon, but when I do, we'll be right in. Matt Fielding. Rest in peace, brother. All right, so, it's happening too often, Ed. Jesus Christ. I mean,
Yep.
It's just a tough deal. So be careful when you're out there on these bikes, mini bikes, motorcycles particularly, because you only got 2 wheels.
Yeah, people pull right out in front of you, even though they see it coming.
So I've been working with the sponsors, and I've been in touch with many of them. I'm recruiting stuff for the goodie bags. And behind the wall here, in addition to some old coats, I've got a bunch of garb for the event. So it's all the banners and all the stuff for the goodie bags. And if you'd like to, if you're a sponsor of the show, you'd like to supply some items for the goodie bags, we need quantities of 200. No literature. Nobody likes to read anything. They want free stuff, right, Ed? What? Decals, earplugs, keychains, samples, product samples.
Brake clean.
One guy wanted to put some pre-rolls in there this year. So it's like, we have to wait on that, But having like a little hash den off to the side, you never know. Speaking of that, I'd like to also give a shout out to my main girl, Bree Gould. And Bree, I work with over at MG. Bree and Josh are awaiting the birth of their newly announced baby girl. And Bree is going to be a perfect mom, and Josh is going to be a great husband. So that's something that we want to celebrate a little bit too. So shout out to them and all our friends over at MG. And also Motorin. Motorin is an app that's fueled by SEMA. Ira was here, if you recall. Ira from SEMA. And that app is growing in popularity. We're going to post our event there on the Motorin app. I got a heads up from the main man, Peter, over there. Said we should use that app. He noticed that our big event on October the 13th wasn't listed, so that was nice. Ed, you have an open invitation, although I don't see you taking advantage of it for the SEMA show, if you're welcome to come up. If you do decide to come up, you should come up the Friday, the last day of the show, and we'll get you a room so you don't have to worry about driving around in the same day, that Friday night. And who knows, I may have to get the scooter going for you so you can get around this year. We have to rent the scooter.
I tell you, the day was rough. Oh.
So you mentioned your day was tough, and then you had to do the podcast. What was your day like today?
Busy. They freaking place orders a bunch of stuff like ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they say, can you push it up?
The date or the quantity?
The dates.
Oh, okay.
So then we don't have like enough parts because we plan for what they ordered.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden they push their stuff up, and we're begging for our suppliers for the parts. And then I got to put the stuff together, put it in boxes, load it up on a pallet, wrap the pallet.
Did you get it done?
Yeah, I got it done.
See? That's what makes you evil Ed. Everybody else, see, it's all right to bitch about it if you get it done, right?
Yeah, I guess.
You earn the right to bitch about it. The problem is that everybody bitches about it, and then you say, so what happened? They say, well, we didn't get it done.
I'm retired.
I don't think you'll ever be retired. You know? Because you're not, what are you going to do? Watch fucking soap operas? I'm around here a little bit more often now, making some calls from home.
No,
and it's tough, isn't it?
working on mini bikes and stuff.
Well, that's all right.
That's all right, but when you have it's a part-time job,
Yeah.
but it still gets in the way every day of what you want to do.
Here's what I'd love to do. Think about it. What time do you go to bed?
Me, probably like 11,
All right,
11:30.
So from now on, you go to bed at 12:30. You greet the next day before you go to bed. All right, so we're gonna stay up till 12:30. What time you get up?
4:30.
Fuck that. No. From now on, you're gonna get up at 8. 8.
I can't do it.
Well, because you get up automatically.
Yeah.
That'll take some time.
Plus the dog's licking my face, wanting to go out.
I thought you were gonna say something else there. Well, that's all right.
Licking my face.
What if you got up? Then what time? At 4?
4:30.
You let the dog lick your face. You then
Let her out.
You then take a shower. Then go back to bed till 8.
Oh, then I won't want to go to work.
No. You're not working now. This I'm saying we're talking about a perfect scenario. You're going to bed at 12:30 at night. You're getting up early, maybe 6-ish, not 4-ish. You let the dog out. You do a couple morning chores. You hit the shower. Then you grab another quick little 2-hour nap. Now you're up. You're up for the day. You do whatever you need to do physically for a while, even if it's just walking, right? Maybe you walk somewhere. Do something physically for an hour while you're eating. So that's like 11. Do something that you feel you want to do now. Read a book. Go buy something. Go on the internet. Go visit somebody. Have your lunch. Now it's around 2 o'clock. Go back to doing what you like to do. One more time till like 4 o'clock. Have a nice meal around 5. You like to eat slow. You're done like 6. In the evening, go somewhere.
Television.
So you stop doing that. Go somewhere.
Internet.
No, you're already doing that. You can do a little bit of that during the day. Now you got to go somewhere. And then do it all over again, Ed. And October the 13th, make sure that you're at Joe's Minibike Reunion. We've got some things going on. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to reach out to this guy, Bing Flores, is into the mini moto scene. Those are the Groms, and those are the Kawasaki Pros, and to some degree the modified Z50 Hondas and the CT70s. Those bikes can all, the Metrux, which is the Metropolitan and the Ruckuses fused together, the Ruckuses, the Metropolitans. There's a bunch of Zumas. People have all kinds of electric bikes now that all gather through a lot of the efforts of a guy that I'm going to call. His name is Bing Flores. And Bing is right now probably one of the more notable influencers within the mini moto scene, I should say. And he was invited, along with a few other big shots, to go to Catalina. And Honda sent them there.
Will they have a testing ground there?
They shipped in a couple dozen of the new Honda monkey bikes. I saw a lot of yellow ones, a lot of red ones, and I think they had some Groms. Why wouldn't you, right? And they let all these guys ride the bikes.
Turn on the bike.
Yep. They let all the guys ride the bikes and give their driving impressions, or riding impressions, I should say. Okay, E. So, our right here.
Yeah, until it's green.
It's green. It's been green. Yeah. You cool? It shows green on here. Got a little technical. You good? So we're going to ring Bing Flores. One's fine. And we're going to find out what he thought about those new Honda monkeys. I talked to Darlene over at Honda of Glendale, and I said, hey, look, maybe you should come out and display this year. She gives us helmets to give away at the event. I said, in light of all the popularity, and maybe the Cubs too. Bring those out. The Groms, the Cubs, the new monkey. She can't keep them. She can't keep them.
Can't keep them in stock.
No, and really Honda's making it seem as if they're available. You can go to your local dealer and get them, but you can't.
Really?
Yeah, because there's just not as many of them. All right, so we're going to go to Bing Flores with Bing is like the leader of the Honda Grom lifestyle. It's online, and it's he's solely responsible for all these cool Friday night rides that we take advantage of. We start at 9 o'clock, wheels up at 9, and ride all over the place. And maybe 60 bikes will come out. And he picks a place for us to eat. Hey, Bing, can you hear us? We're on Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast.
Oh, yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, when I was reaching out to
How
you,
are you?
I'm doing well. I'd rather be you right now by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we had a good 2 days of riding, really, here in Catalina.
Bing, let me take a second and introduce you to the listeners. I mentioned that you were the head honcho at the Honda Grom lifestyle and how much you had really done to coordinate a lot of these cool night rides that we attend, as well as just coordinate all the enthusiasts that are into some of these cool mini motos. I happen to have the chance to stumble onto you online, and you're one cool guy. And I also suggested that you were one of the many influencers that Honda recently invited to check out the new Honda Monkey bike out there in Catalina. So you've been out there for what, a day or so?
This is our second day. There was a first batch that came in. There's like, I think, 7 guys. As a matter of fact, Kevin from Steady Garage was with the first batch. So they had a good time too. Then this other group is with us, and it's a pretty big group, and most of them are from the East Coast, Philadelphia, Toronto, Tennessee. Greg from the Crawl was there with us. Monkey Crawl is here with us, and this the new monkey is, I'm sorry to say, but it rides better than the Grom. It handles better than the Grom. Stops better than the Grom, and the seat is way better than the Grom. We've been riding all day, and the seat is just so comfy. So Honda did a good job again on this new monkey. So it's a little pricey, but it's worth it, I think. So,
well, I wanted to get your take on it, Bing, because I was looking at ordering one and giving a deposit. I think the only person who beat me to Darlene at Honda of Glendale was Ray Tong from Steady Garage. She had already been there and given her like 1 or 2 deposits, but I heard from her that, you know, it was going to be like a $49.95 ballpark proposition, which made it a pretty pricey little entry into the monkey bike arena. You know, that was so I was expecting more because,
yes.
You know, so hearing that you felt that way, that it handled better, or you felt it, did you say it also had more performance you felt?
I think so, because it's a lighter bike, and it's just people all over to stop us for this bike. And I've noticed this bike is going to be good for hill canyon riding. They might laugh at us at the canyon, but it's just a lighter bike. And like I said before, I'm sorry to say, it's better than the Grom. I think because he has 2 shocks in the rear, so it's just an amazing bike. I told the Honda people here that our main complaint was about the price. But they showed us, you know, like there's a lot of nice things on the bike. That's why it's worth it, I think, paying for that amount. A lot of people will argue about the price, but everybody should just try it before they say something about the price.
Bing, just to clarify, Bing, can you clarify what they were suggesting the retail price was going to be on this new monkey bike?
Okay, there's 2 prices. The one that has the ABS, of course, is much more expensive. I think it's like 41 something, and the one without the ABS is like just about $100 cheaper. But the thing is, the only color that has ABS right now is the color red. So the yellow doesn't have the ABS. So I don't know why they did that. Only the red has the ABS right now. So it's I would agree that it's a little pricey, but everybody should just try it before. Just for that price, you can get a bigger bike. But it's a blast. This bike is a blast.
Yeah, I think
So
that was
everybody would try it.
that was really the point that we had made too, Bing, during last podcast, which was that those mini motos had a certain cachet because they were so much fun, they were retro, they were manageable, largely because they're low center. It wasn't a huge engine, that 125 engine. So getting into the hobby, the price of entry was a little bit less. When you start to look at a similar style bike, and by similar, the engine being somewhat the same as the Grom, maybe the wheel tire combo, if it now went from a $3,700 proposition to, let's just say, a $4,500 proposition or a $4,200 proposition, you're looking for something a little bit different. And the thing that I think differentiates that bike from the Grom, you mentioned the two shocks, but it's just a different looking bike. It really has much of a retro bike.
A different bike. A lot of people think it's a smaller bike. It's as high as the Grom. It's the same height of the Grom. So people think, even we have a guy here that rode with us. He's like 6'4", and all day long he didn't get, his back didn't hurt, or in the seat is just, he can ride from out to the seat. It's way better than the Grom seat, and everybody knows about that. The Grom seat is a bad design seat.
That was my first change on my Grom, Bing. The first thing I did was take off that dirt bike seat, and I spent $400 or $500 on my Corbin, which I love.
Yeah.
And then it was the beginning of the long process, which everyone goes through, which is the exhaust, and then the mirrors, and then the lights, and then so the fun begins. Now you had a pretty good group with you at the recent big Honda Grom ride, and you're now up there in Catalina. You've been staying busy. How big is the group that you're with now, Bing? And what have those guys been doing with you? Have they been letting you go around and riding those bikes at a course that they've designed, or you get to freestyle and ride wherever you want to go? How's it working out there?
How here in Catalina, Joe? Was it
Yes.
the question?
Yes.
What we did was when we left, it's amazing because Honda is really well prepared. After breakfast, they showed us a little video of what their intentions about this new Honda Monkey and the new Super Cup or Honda Passport, as we call it here in the States. And they're trying to tell us what their goal is, their objective. And there was a surprise that last year they sold 40,000 Groms just in the U.S. So, and the number one stolen bike 2 years in a row was the Honda Grom. And they were just trying to get their feet wet. And now that they know that the Grom is just all over, and then they started to make that revive the Honda Monkey. And don't forget, Joe, the Super Cup is coming out in about a few more months, and that's going to be another good event for Honda. So
Yeah, I like that.
Thank Honda for doing this. Hopefully, I just all the things I can say about the Honda Monkey they're all positive.
Well, that's good to hear, Bing. Not really too surprised when it comes to Honda. They're the leaders, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. I was referring to it as the Cub. I like that clean kind of sport car, Indy car, where you're pulling off plastic. There's something cool about that Cub. I could see that thing modified with some white walls. I actually sent a picture of that Cub to Wade Kawasaki over at Coker Tire, one of our sponsors, because I thought that Passport would be a great platform to showcase the Coker white walls.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey,
a lot of people don't know that's the number one production bike in the world, Super Cup. They've been using that in the late 60s, in Asia, Europe, especially in Asia. They use that for the longest time. So they make good products. And, well, like I said, hopefully they would test this before they start it, because even the tank, even the frame, it's like powder coated to the. It's just a nice bike. So.
Well, there you have it, folks. You've got the review from the main man, Bing Flores. Bing's with the Honda Grom lifestyle scene. He's a big influencer in that mini moto category. Bing, I know that your dance card's been full, and I want to wish you guys over at the Honda Grom lifestyle.
Thanks so much, Joe. We always like we always support you. And you're the biggest in the mini bike scene.
Well, thanks coming from you. That's cool. I've missed our night rides largely because I've been on the mend. Recovering from my shoulder surgery, but each night.
Every Friday night, everybody's welcome to join us on our Friday night ride. It's getting bigger. When it gets a little cooler, we stop it. It's a fun group every Friday, and hopefully it still goes on, and everybody have fun.
Well, here's an official welcome to the Joe's Minibike Reunion class. We've got some Mini Moto awards. I know that you're busy, Bing, but if you get a chance to spread the word, it's October the 13th. We've affectionately got a strong...
We'll be reposting the Joe Minibike Reunion for that October 13th.
Thank you, Bing. And
Joe, call me anytime. I really appreciate it.
All right, there you have it, folks. That's Bing Flores with the Honda Grom lifestyle, giving that new Honda Monkey bike a thumbs up. You got it, Bing. Thank you, brother. I like the bike. Ed, I know that you're not really like a fan of those bikes. You're more the rigid frame. There's something cool about these bikes. It took me actually a little while to warm up to the Grom. All of them have like a slow burn on me. Wait till it comes out with a bigger engine. The problem you're going to have is then you're going to be right back to a $10,000. That right now it's crawling up to 5 and it's an issue. They start putting in those 200cc engines like I've got in that Suzuki in those small bikes. They'll be up there. They'll be up there price-wise.
A lot of money.
How cool that could be, though. Getting invited by Honda to roll out to Catalina Island for a couple of days.
What do they have, a place set up there where?
Well, they got a slew of hotels there, right? And some of them
ride anywhere.
That was pretty much it. I think they just kind of doled them out to those guys, 4 or 5 or 8 at a time, and get to ride. And they do those with cars all the time.
They have skis on them and go skiing with them.
I guess so, depending on what you're selling, right? Have you ever been out to Catalina recently?
Yeah, no, not recently. No.
Yeah, it's nice. We go to Two Harbor. So the boat goes from either Long Beach or San Pedro right to Catalina and drops off 95% of the people.
Right.
Thank God. You stay on that boat, and then it crawls up to the northern tip. It's called Two Harbors because you can get to it on the east side and the west side. It's where Natalie Wood was killed in Two Harbor. And it's a little cove just north, Ed. And unlike Catalina, where it's packed, it's nobody.
Really?
Yeah, and if you go there at a certain time of the year, you can almost ensure you're going to be like a nomad there.
Huh.
You have to be prepared, but the first thing you do when you get off the Catalina cruiser, you walk down that dock and you look and you see all the trails. You go, I wish I had a mini bike, or I wish I had a bike to tear up there. So they're probably having a lot of fun. We've gone up there recently. We'll probably be up there with Gail and Jerry sometime in October, celebrating hopefully a successful event. So that was Bing Flores. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk to Louie from L&L Motorsports. Louie is the Dyno King. He's also the official dyno of Joe's Minibike Reunion, and that's been sponsored in the past by the folks at Steady Garage. Thank you for their support. There was a little banter going on the intranet about horsepower, and we'll find out what the highest horsepower was on the dyno to date, as well as talk to Louie about, there's some do's and don'ts about bringing your bike in for the dyno. And, you almost have to be prepared. Make sure your shit's tight. We're not a place where the dyno is not a place where you are going to fire up your engine for the first time, right? That's not good for anybody. So
should already be tuned. Yeah,
amongst other things, right? And you should also have some idea of how it works and how you're eligible to bring your bike on the dyno. I heard something, and E, I'm going to have you look into it with me as well. Apparently, there's an app online on your phone that allows you to dyno your bike. I don't know how. I don't know how it gauges the revolutions of your wheel. There's got to be a plug-in something. I can imagine like some sheet of paper, with a wire, and that's underneath your deal. But imagine that.
That's crazy.
Other than awaiting the Jetsons' new app for tuning your dyno on your cell phone, you've got to go to a dyno, and that's not easy.
Right.
So I think one of the biggest attractions we have, one of the biggest reasons why you should consider entering your bike for the $20 or the $15 if you get the $5 off at Campbell, is that if you pre-register, which is that you paid before the show, not only do you save some money, because I think the price goes up $5 on site, but if you pre-register, you are guaranteed a chance on the dyno. If you were to normally just like try to go get your bike on a dyno, you got to load that thing up. Got to get it down there. You got to pay for it. It's hundreds of bucks. This is like for $20, and I know I can get my bike on the dyno and be eligible for everything. It's pretty cool. So we'll talk to Louis about some do's and don'ts. We'll also get some stories about Louis because he's been with us since the beginning, if you recall.
Right.
And I'm curious about his take on the evolution of the dyno activity here at JMBR, and if we're actually if he's because the first year, I don't know if you remember, but the first couple of years, I was beating the bushes trying to get people to put their bike on the dyno.
Yep.
Another one of what I thought was my surefire good ideas, and it was slow coming.
Slow, yeah.
What was it, do you think, kept everybody away? They really didn't want to.
They didn't want to really find out what their bike was putting out.
Talking all that shit online?
Talk all that crap, and then,
Do you recall some of the guys who went on there early? Charles was always there.
Was it
D?
It was,
yeah.
What's his name?
Rafa, I think, his guys.
The Ghost guy. What's
Yeah, Ghost Rider.
Yeah. There was...
yeah, there's a few guys that came out there. What about my man Rashawn? Didn't he come out?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so we had a few of the hardcore guys that are really... well,
Solo.
Yeah, Solo. Solo came out. And then it got packed. You'll notice like last year. In fact, so we relocated the dyno largely because of not only the crowd, but also the sound. So it really anchors the event, and it projects back, and there's no denying that that's grown in popularity. We'll see if we can get a little bit more.
My West Bend 820 is going to turn 33 horsepower.
You're going to take home the cup?
Yeah, I've been tuning it.
You talking shit?
I've been tuning it. Watch out. Watch out, Charles. That two-stroke.
Now it was a big block. Was it 33 horsepower? Big Mike?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so it was 33 and change. It was a big block.
I've been working on that two-stroke, Charles.
Gonna get that thing up to 4 horsepower. Oh, there was a lady. I hashtagged Evil Ed. There's a lady talking about your.
Oh yeah, that was an AH-47.
Yes. Okay, you're a 46.
I have an AH-58.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, mine's a little bit bigger motor.
Yeah, but she had two cool ones.
Yeah.
Now, were those red? Were those original red, or did she have those redone?
They probably were red.
Those look sweet. Why don't you nibble and see if who was that gal?
I forgot her name.
Well, let's look into it. We may be interested in at least one of those.
I saw that. That was pretty cool.
I also see that your man Justin. You're Justin's.
Justin Eichler?
Yeah, he's great.
What's up, Justin? Shout out.
Justin is being a great ambassador. Thank you. Some folks from out of state are coming in early for the show. Many of them will be hanging out with Justin, as well as Ian coming to town. And I think that we've got our friends from Arizona rolling in. I don't know. It could be good.
Could be pretty good.
Yeah. I ordered all this stuff today, Ed. We've got some apparel coming in. I told you we're going Dodger Blue this year.
I got to go home and start matching faces with names. So when they come up to me, I don't go,
how you doing?
Oh, yeah, I think I remember you.
Well, if your MO is going to continue to be to find a shady spot and sit down, then we should make a throne, like a padded chair, like a pimp chair. And then we can have what do they call that? The little, when you walk the red carpet, the stanchions. Yeah, the stanchions and the ropes. And I don't know, maybe we do a little thing where
No, let's not do that.
Not yet?
No.
All right.
Not yet.
Well, you're going to mingle a little bit more though, is what I'm sensing.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that said, You know, what we're looking at up here, folks, and due to all this technical high-tech camera equipment that we have, you can literally look at one side. This is the last. Now, I sold Gerald the last XXXLs, and this is the last Evil Ed that I have anywhere because I've cleaned out the garage,
really?
as you've seen. Yeah, so I'm going to keep that one. Maybe you'll autograph that for me. And the hats were what really sold on site. The T-shirts were a slow burn, and so are mine. So we're going to continue to offer, but just a very select group of limited edition Evil Ed flat bill adjustable hats, and you're going to probably have to sign a few of those. So whoever buys one of those hats on site, Ed, you get your big $3.82 commission, and then the autograph, and I'll let you keep the pen. So that's a pretty good deal when you think about it.
Man. Make sure it's a Sharpie.
Yep, I'll go with the dark Sharpie, and we'll take some. We'll look at some of the posts. We encourage you guys. In fact, we're going to read off some of the posts. That's going to be our second half, and then we're going to get with Louis as soon as we come back. Thanks for listening, everybody. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. We've got the big show coming up on the 13th. Does anybody out there that has some questions or needs a little help getting your bike done? Save those questions for after the break. We're going to take a quicker break. We're only going to take a 5-minute break this time instead of our typical 10. And we'll finish this podcast up in a second. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast brought to you by Pioneer.
Is your car stereo a little outdated? Don't sell your car. Upgrade it. Get hands-free calling with Android Auto on the new Pioneer Next.
New from the makers of legendary Brake Clean, the Shop Size Brake Clean Pro Series. The larger Pro Size can has 50% more of the brake clean you've trusted for over 47 years. Also available in 3 non-chlorinated formulas.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast. It is season 3, episode
13.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Oh, I was wondering where the beer went, Ed. Are you clipped?
No.
Oh, great. Do you mind? I know.
How'd it get over there?
Well, I had 2. This was the last of the first show. And this was the first of the second half. Almost got ahead of myself. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I see Charles Mini Drag Bike recently joined in. We had a few other. Who's watching? Who's up this?
Corona Irving?
Hold on. Corona Irving.
Is that Irving Corona or Corona Irving?
So I was looking at the names of folks as they signed in at the shows over the years. I do that every year. I go back and look at every year from the first, and I double check that I have your name or your email address or if it's been updated. And I come to Vernell Potter, which was the name, first, last. And then the signature was signed
Home Alone.
Potter Vernell.
Oh, Potter Vernell?
So that was still confusing and remains. Corona Irving, yes. But not as much now. Because you could tell he never would be named Irving.
Corona Irving says
Corona,
cheers.
So Corona was doing the pizza, but was it as good as the pizza that Linda made for us?
Oh, I don't know.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you only had one piece. You're going to have to take some home.
That was good pizza.
That wasn't bad. You know what I did? I was rushing, and I got everything on there, and realized I hadn't put the mozzarella cheese on there. So that was the last thing I put on this pizza. Unlike what I would typically do is it'd be like second or, it's, the grated cheese and all that stuff, and then put the topping. So I did it differently. It was good. So thank you, Linda. Linda does a good job, Ed.
Yep.
She got you your soda again. She got E's little salad.
Went and saw the little doggies.
Yeah, she's a good kid.
Chi-Wei is watching.
Chi-Wei.
Remember
him?
Chi-Wei. Yeah.
He won the giveaway last year.
Giveaway.
All right, let's talk about the giveaway. I called Frank at F&B, and it's just not going to be done. Not a big surprise, right? So if you recall, I said, okay, you're a promoter. Gotta take that hat off now, put on another hat. Called up Bob. Bob calls me back because I left a message with Bob. Speaking of Robert Oliveira, the 2018 Joe's Minibike Reunion newest inductee into the Hall of Fame, joining Evil Ed and the likes of many others. I got a message back from Bob about 5 minutes later, and ironically, I was then on the phone. So it goes to voicemail, and he didn't quite say who he was. He just said he was calling back from the complaint department and left the phone number.
You should have known who it was then.
So I call back already knowing that if he's left the message that it's the complaint department, then more than likely I'm not going to be getting what I'm asking for. Because I had asked him if I could press him for a two-piece to replace and maybe even make it a roller, right? Thinking if I can get a two-piece, might as well press it, get some axles and some wheels and tires. But he's like, look, those small bikes, because I've got the one.
Right.
In fact, it's still in there. I'm going to bring that to the show. And then I have another two-piece because as soon as we saw that one, it's like, I got to have another one. Even if I just had the two-piece kit just to have. So I'm on that long list. And he doesn't sell those to everybody because they're really not made for riding. They're really more for show. And he's kind of select. That was the good news, bad news. I'm kind of select and I've got one, maybe two. Yet he doesn't have any of them lying around. And if he did, he didn't want to just have them available for a giveaway because that would kind of entice somebody randomly who wins that to maybe try to ride that thing and build it and ride it. And that's not really what he was going for. So he schooled me on that. He had nothing else available because everything else he has, including the bikes that he had offered on the show, gone. So I asked Brian, or excuse me, I correct myself, not Solo, Frank, if he had one. I think I had kind of teased him about that earlier. It's like, hey, look, if nothing else, as a backup. So he's checking to see if maybe there's an F&B roller for me as an option. And then I've got two other irons in the fire. When I went to GTS, I don't think you made it that time because you weren't feeling good. Remember
Yeah,
we were at
right.
Max?
I missed it.
I liked what he was doing. And then I saw that video that D did. You could just see that, Rafa was living it. And then we had him on the show. And within the hardcore group of mini bikers out here, GTS is pretty damn popular. And a lot of guys have had a GTS.
Yeah, he sells frames all over.
And I bet he could do something nice for us, but he's busy too. So I reached out and left a message for Rafa. And Rafa, if you're listening, or D for that matter, hook me up because after I'm there, then it's like my little Indian. And the more I think about it, I'm thinking two things. The first one is that this Rutman we've been trying to get done for a giveaway does not want to work. Something out there bigger than us is keeping it from happening. I'm keeping that bike. It's no longer going to be that. We'll make the giveaway that we should have done for Pioneer should have been a Grom.
Think so?
Japanese companies, much more compatible. It's much more suited for that younger person that would be also interested in car audio. I think I may have pressed on that one, and that's why it's not working. It's just not the right thing. So, with all that said, that's what's happening with the bike, the giveaway bike. We've got a few other things happening that are all good, and we talked earlier about the popularity of the dyno, right? Before we get Louie on the phone, is there anybody on there, Ed? You want to
Yeah,
get a shout out?
yeah. Dane Walton's watching.
Hey, Dane.
Frank Franquez is watching.
Hi, Frank. Oh, Frank can give us some input then.
Yeah, Corona's back on. Talking to Frank.
How about your boy
Gail.
Gail?
Gail's watching.
No, it's too late for her. Hi,
No,
Gail.
it says Gail.
All right.
And then just Linda says, thanks, sister. She said Linda's the best.
We're going to get all that. What
Linda
about,
says, thanks, sister.
oh, God, that can go on forever. Well, I'm going to give a couple shout outs if I can. I'll squeeze some in. Well, I want to give a shout out to Brad DeMoisey. Brad, who we had on. In fact, Brad, you along with Karen Krause and Isaiah Gibbs. I just saw a confirmation from Tim at Small Engine Cams. Your camshafts are going out if they haven't already gone out, so congratulations. And John Benet Ramsey. I know you did it, John. It's like the other chick in the Bahamas. They think they found out who killed her after 50 years. It's probably the same John. See, now I'm afraid if he comes to the mini bike show, he's going to kill one of us. Anyways, Brad pulled off a pretty stout inaugural mini bike show, the Southeast Michigan Minibike Reunion 2018. And we were proud to contribute in a small way. Gave us a little love on the banner. But he got like 100 and change bikes out there.
It's a lot.
Nice bikes. Had some really cool trophies. Put it together pretty quick with, who's that? New Line Mini Bikes? Is that the group that he was with? Remember we had his buddy on? Last time he was on. But those guys, nice job. Congratulations on that, Brad. And continued success on your event. And as you continue to promote that, take it easy, take it slow, make it go. And, you know, he's got the passion. Brad's a cool guy. We met him out at that Detroit meet and greet. Hopefully I have a chance to see him soon. Maybe one day see him out at the Joe's Minibike Reunion, held October the 13th this year. I want to give a shout out to a few friends. Ed, we're slowly approaching the 3,000 likes on the Facebook page. It's kind of pathetic. We should have more than that, but fortunately we don't hawk a lot of that and promote a lot of that. But it is nice. More recent ones are Dale Garner, Jim Christensen, Kevin Horde, Built Mini Bikes, which is interesting because we've been hanging out with those guys for a little while. See, that happens too. A lot of times people follow you, but they don't like it, wherever the fuck you're supposed to do. So, the Turtle, Eddie McComas. I've been talking to a guy, Clee Turner, and I immediately thought it was Ike's cousin or brother, and it turns out it's not. He's up in the Bay Area, and him and I have something uniquely in common. Ed, guess what that is?
Chevys?
He owns a Papoose.
Oh, he does?
Yeah, and he's looking for a drivetrain at one of those Minarelli engines, as well as some exhausts. It's like, brother, keep looking online. That's all you can do, Clee.
That's all you can do. I saw something for a little Indian Papoose.
What'd you see?
I think it was a gas tank or something.
There's a start. He had one. He has a tank on his. He sent me some photos. His is black plated. I told him to come down and check us out. He likes you like everybody else said. So say hi to him, would you?
What's up?
Clee Turner.
What's up, Clee?
And Dave Rozecki, Lucy Watts, Terry Haynes, Bob Watson, Ivan Overdane, Guy Faulkner, Cesar Mercado, Tony Sereno, Rich Robatello, Mark Torresano. Those are names from the past, as well as I heard on, it was Sunday, I think, and I had heard from a young guy, he's my age, a guy that I knew well when I was a young kid, Paul Zeke Zaleski, who I lived on Elizabeth Street back in my hometown. He had sought me out. He's doing well. He's married. He's got 3 great kids. He's imagine that. I know somebody who's I think he's a pharmacist, but he was always smart. We weren't really smart kids. He was one of them that was. So he apparently was telling childhood stories with his wife, and it got to me and it got to the mini bike, and he started to look for me online.
Oh, really? And
then found out, not only he found me, but he found out the magnitude of the mini bike involvement still. And there he is now. He's the head audio guy at ESPN. He sent us that little message. But so I want to give a shout out to you, Paul. Hopefully you're doing well. Terry Stakes, Alden Smith, Chris Scott. How you doing, Chris? Joe Petralia. Joe's coming out from Arizona, as well as hopefully some of the other guys, Nick and John from Arizona. They offered to help out, maybe set up. You were pretty set up at that event. Usually the big thing is laying the mats out the day before and then putting the suicide tape up. That's all we can really do. We staged the trailer, and it's pretty much done. It isn't until that following morning, that 6 a.m.
6 a.m.
where that 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. scramble where we get the audio up, and we've got we've got the food trucks
It's too early to work. You're like,
Yeah, you just want to find coffee and a place to be left alone, right?
let me wake up for a minute.
But there are a couple little duties. Most of them are easy, and helping out either with checking in and directing people where to go. We're going to try to make things easy. And I talked to AJ. AJ Russo is one of the longtime staff guys. He works up front with Mikey, Mike Robledo. A belated happy birthday to you, my man, Mikey. We were out this weekend partying with him.
Cool. We
God
got
give
a
us
Dallas Guthrie.
Yeah, Dallas Guthrie.
Guthrie, he's watching.
Is he? I think he's an Arizona guy. Is he?
I don't know.
I think so.
Name doesn't sound familiar to me.
Mike Hughes from Texas. Now, Mike Hughes, they've got some big mini bike event. You can check him out. Those are the Texas Outlaw mini bike guys. You got to see the trophies that they're making for their event. Make you want to box up and throw out the traditional trophies as we know them, the cups and the angels with the fucking the wings on them, the plaques. Yeah, we've got to.
John Benet says he can help.
With what? The trophies? Oh,
No,
help
in the
online?
morning,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Thank you, John. Appreciate it. You're doing too much. But John won a $50 gift certificate from Go Power Sports. Hey, look, I've got to get Louie on the line. He doesn't have all friggin' day, Ed.
Oh,
Let's
I thought we already did that.
That was Bing.
That was big.
Yes, that was Bing. So now I'm going to turn this on.
All right, let's talk to Louie.
Let's see here. All right, that's on. And this is Louie. Now, Louie is the head honcho at L&L Motorsports. They're in the high desert.
Lancaster.
I think all that area is the high desert, isn't it?
Mojave.
It's like, Jesus Christ, it's so fucking hot there. Just saying it makes me hot. Anything with a Ville in it, a Victorville or a Castor or a Plaster or a... When they start naming rocks in the city like Quartz Hill, it's fucking hot. Hey, Lou. Hi, Lou. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you go. Folks, welcome to the podcast. This is Louie, the head honcho at L&L Motorsports in the high desert. Louie's been hanging there with us with these crazy mini bikes trying to squeeze out anything more than 20 horsepower for the last few decades. And Lou, thanks for joining us on the podcast. How's things going so far?
Everything's going good.
How was your day?
Busy. I'm always on the road with the dyno, so getting the dyno ready to go somewhere this weekend too.
What's a day in the life like for Louie at L&L Motorsports with that dyno? Are you traveling just within the state? Will you go anywhere? Do you find yourself returning to events that you go to often? What's a day in a life like?
Yeah, a little bit of traveling. Not as much as I used to. I used to go to Maine, Pennsylvania. I try to stay in California here. I have an event once a month somewhere that I travel to, motorcycle shops or events like yours.
Well, Lou, I got to wonder, when that light bulb moment come for you, you decided that you'd want to just turn this interest with dyno into something that you're going to make a business? What sparked that idea with you where you decided you were going to make that a go?
That is a funny thing. I am always been in going fast, whether it be race cars, drag boats, anything like that. I road race semi-professionally myself and used a local dyno, at a Harley shop. And they sold the Harley shop, and the gentleman that took it over says, "We don't want no Jap bikes." So I went and bought myself a dyno, and only for my own bike in my garage to road race. And after about 6 months, everybody at the local track found out I had a dyno. So there started L&L Motorsports, because I did racetracks from California to New Mexico every weekend.
And Lou, was the dyno, because I'm new to it in the way that I would assume that you buy a dyno and it's installed in a shop. Was yours installed in your shop, and then did you make it portable, or did you have a dyno that because it was just used for your bikes, it allowed it to be a portable unit?
Again, it's so all the dynos are, you can put them anywhere you want.
Okay.
My idea was being at the racetracks, being where the bikes are, instead of having the bikes come to me. So I put it in a trailer. I was the first person in California to put a dyno in a trailer.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, when I was looking at trying to enhance the performance aspect of the show, I only had to outdo what was a very lame cackle fest. I had to one up that. And as I started to think of things, because we're so limited, our event maintains somewhat of a static backdrop. You can't ride the bikes. So they allowed us to do the cackle fest, which is kind of cool because at least you get to hear them, and people at least enjoyed that. But as I looked to stretch that canvas a little bit, I don't know what it was, Lou. I think it was, I was at a roadkill event or a hot rod power tour event, and we started to book guys who had formulated a similar company where they had a portable dyno, and they would bring it to car shows. And it became the event within the event. And it became the main attraction for the hardcore performance guys, the guys who came there really not to see some chrome chopper mini bike, but came to see some built West Bend, or a big block on alcohol, and see if you can hear one of these little small engines get 35, 40 horsepower. And we've yet to get there, but that having that dyno and taking it on the road seemed to be just what the doctor ordered. And I don't know, I think I got to Dyno Jet in Las Vegas either online or through some of my phone calls. And one of those guys there gave me your contact info. And I couldn't be any happier to have had the chance to strike it up with you. And Evil Ed, who is my co-host here, you probably remember Ed from the event. Lou, if you don't.
Correct.
Ed,
Yep.
Say hi to Louie.
Hi, Louie.
Hi, Ed.
We struggled, and we literally had to go out. It was like, when you're in high school, the fucking line's 20 deep for baseball and basketball. When you have the wrestling team, you got to go fucking recruit people for football and wrestling because no one wants to get hurt, right? So the dyno, Lou, I thought was going to be, and Lou, you've always done a good job with me, and I'll just be very square. My investment with Lou isn't even over $1,000. It's under that, but it's worth every penny. And I think about it, Lou, we allow these guys to have a chance to put their bike on a dyno just for paying like a $15 or $20 admission. What would it cost somebody who just had a mini bike who, for whatever reason, had to have his bike on a dyno? What would it cost him if he just wanted to go out and do that on his own?
So to come to me and do what we're doing there, it would probably be $100.
So if a guy gets that done for $15 or $20, it's a pretty good deal, right?
Well, and that, yes, a really good deal. And
So-
the deal is that the reason it works so well there is because we have all the people already there.
Yes. Gives you like a
Or bike.
built-in audience.
Yes.
So, Lou, what I was getting at is the first attempt that we had, and I want to think it's our 1, 2, 3, 4, going on our 7th year, and I think this will be our 4th or 5th working together. We relocated.
Right.
We relocated because of the popularity, and then we had to go out the first year or two and court people to bring their bikes into the dyno. Now we don't have that problem. Can you give some of the listeners an idea of what's taken place inside that trailer over the years from the first year and the few bikes that we've had to what you see coming in there now? Is there anything that you've noticed?
Well, again, for the event, I think, I don't want to take away everything from the event, but, a lot of people come there for a dyno because a lot of people can't get a mini bike dyno, and, the dyno's for a bigger bike, and nobody caters to them, like you do and I do.
I agree.
And it doesn't matter, anything that runs, I'm going to work on, I'm going to tune, and like the very first year that I did this event with you, people are trying to make their bike stronger, faster, and the dyno every year has proven that. And that's what, people try to do is, you have a tool to show what you can do better to your bike, or, I talk to the guys that are on the dyno, tire pressure, chain lube, having your chain adjusted right will make horsepower. And that's why I have a couple bikes last year. A couple guys that came over to me, dynoed, and I said, "Hey, go try this," and then they come back, "Hey, try this," and then we make more horsepower.
So
and it's a tool.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it not only becomes a situation where they're able to see the true horsepower for their bike, but it really becomes a come to Jesus for them on fine tuning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting on the chain. I would have passed right by the significance of that. What are some of the common mistakes? That the chains are too tight, or the opposite, too loose, Lou?
Both, right? Exactly. So it's a fine tuning, especially on the mini bike that doesn't have a suspension. But one of the things I do horsepower shootouts on big bikes where we make 700 horsepower. On a big bike. Lubing your chain on a 750 on a regular bike that you ride every day will give you 5 horsepower on the dyno.
Well, there's a little tip or trick for you right there, Lou. When folks are
tire pressure, to make sure your tire pressure is set. There's horsepower.
How much horsepower is in tire pressure?
It's most of them usually range around 5 horsepower. The big bikes, because we've been doing big bikes forever. I can tell you a Pirelli tire gets another brand tire will give you 5 horsepower on the dyno. So when we go to big bike horsepower shootouts, which I have one on this Saturday, these guys have been to me and asked me what we're going to do to make more horsepower. How can we make more horsepower? So then it gets into every event, just like Joe's mini bike. It gets better, faster, stronger because we can make a couple more horsepower.
Lou, where is that event this weekend taking place?
It is at the Llama Motorsports motorcycle.
Sure.
It's a motorcycle dealership, and I'm there quite a bit, and they have a big sidewalk sale, stuff like that, and it's a horsepower shootout, and it's at Redondo Beach.
Yeah, right off the
location.
405.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've been out there. Lou, while you've been, how many years now have you been in the dyno game? Has it been close to 15 years? Has it been over a decade?
25.
There you go. So, Lou,
Quarter of a century.
what are some things that you can tell some of the participants who are anxious to bring their bikes on the dyno? I termed it dyno etiquette, and it was a little highbrow, but I meant that because there are certain things that you should not assume when you bring your bike in. There are certain things that your bike should already have been kind of pre-lubed or pre-qualified. Can you give...
That's exactly what I talk about. Chain is important because, like not this year, not last year, but the year before, I had a couple chains come off. Your chain being an adjustment, it's really important things that miss is tire pressure. Come up with the right tire pressure in the back. Basically, it's operating tire pressure of that brand of tire, which the manufacturer has it. And there's a reason why they have it, because they did the research. So that's basically one of the things. And then...
Yeah, that covers it on the bikes. What I was really talking about, too, is the actual guy who owns the bike, the guy or gal who rolls the bike up. Many of them either want to... I'm sure you see some of them that are just anxious to get the bike to you and jump out of the trailer. There's others that you probably wish you can pry away. Can you give us a little bit of a sense of what you like to describe as your perfect dyno customer, so to speak? Especially those that...
The way to put it is somebody ready to go, and I'm not really sure if that's what you're asking, but somebody that is ready to go, that all that work is already done, come up with a clean bike and ready to run it.
And you don't have issues with folks getting in the way, taking selfies, or maybe,
Well, we talked about it, you and I, this year. We're gonna put some barriers around there just to keep people getting too close to the dyno. But I always look back and try to get people out from straight behind the dyno.
Yeah, that chain
in
could
case
fly right
the
off.
tire goes hit tire or something like that. So
Lou, have you dodged a couple scary, hairy moments in the dyno? That's a pretty confined space in there, and you're there, like you said, with some of those big horsepower engines, whether it's motorcycles or cars. Have you had any scary tales that you lived through?
yeah. So on the big bikes, NOS or nitrous, running nitrous. If it's a dry system, some of the computers on the bike would add fuel, and then when you let go of the nitrous, it'd lean out, and the top of the button would come off.
That'll get your attention.
Oh yeah, and you know, I put for a month and a half. I was picking out rod caps out of the bottom of my trailer on a CX14 turbo. You know, and that's the thing is, you know, I'm comfortable in the dyno, so usually the customer is okay for me on some bikes, and they come to me that be in a trailer. And I remember this one time on that ZX, I filled the trailer full of smoke because the motor went away, and the guy got out of the trailer. Well, the easiest thing is the Dynajet dyno has so many fail-safes for it. There's a bright red button. You hit the space bar on the keyboard, all that stuff, and the brake comes on the dyno, so it stops it easy enough.
Yeah, a lot of safeguards there.
Dynajet has made a really nice dyno that, you know, is user-friendly. So,
Hey, Lou, let me ask you. I recently heard on one of these mini moto social media sites, those are the Honda Groms, those little 125 engines, the Kawasaki Pros. Supposedly there's an app for your iPhone which allows you to dyno your bike on an iPhone's app. Now, obviously there's got to be some plugins that are either attached to the bike or underneath the rear tire, but as you just hear about that, does it seem like technology is getting way ahead of itself here, or do you just find that kind of normal now that you'd almost be able to dyno your bike on an iPhone app now?
well, I mean that won't work. You know, I mean, somebody wants to be super smart, but you know, it works off a drum mass off the drum on the dyno.
Right.
So I don't know how they could do that. You know, it might be a guesstimate.
Yeah, we were talking about that. You know, some kind of a thin mat that had a wire that connected to a plug-in. But I guess what I'm just saying is that it's kind of amazing the way technology gets ahead of itself.
Technology. Oh yeah. We're constantly evolving in dyno firmware, software. You know, move up to the next deal is, you know, it's always better, faster, stronger. That's what it's about, right?
Hey, Lou, if folks want to find out how they may be able to get a hold of you for maybe a big event that they've got planned, or would just like to maybe reach out, what's the easiest way for folks to get a hold of you?
My phone number, which is 661-944-9043. That's my office number. And if I don't grab it, that will give you my cell phone number.
How's your dance card looking? You're pretty busy. I know every time I talk to you, you got a pretty full dance card. How far ahead of things are you booked?
Usually about a month at least. You know, it's I can work things around. I mean, I always ask for a month notice.
Well, that's a pretty normal or pretty fair opportunity there. I look forward to seeing you, Lou. It's a big part of the event. I appreciate the effort, and I always like just getting a chance to say hi to you. So, are you bringing anybody with you again this year?
Yeah, I'm going to bring my kid.
What was his name again?
Lewis.
Oh, there you go. So I won't have to remember another name. I could just say Lou.
Yeah, that's it. That's easy. And I got a bunch of guys that came out last year. Not a bunch of guys, but I got some guys last year that've been telling everybody. My neighbor guys want to come out. I tell everybody about it, show them pictures and stuff. So everybody's pretty excited.
Thank you, Lou. I appreciate the love. I look forward to seeing you on October the 13th. Have a great rest of the week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you October the 13th at CV Park. It's Lou from L&L Motorsports.
See you, Lou.
Hey, how you doing?
Lou's a really cool guy, and I'm glad that he's there. What we're just talking about is it got a little bit crazy inside the dyno. That's all. And we we just wanted to make sure that everybody remains safe. Could you imagine with those nitrous bikes blowing up inside that freaking trailer? Right?
Rod caps at the bottom.
Yeah, just picking them out like people throw gum at the bottom of a movie theater.
Here's another rod cap.
So, let's take a look, see if we can give some final shout-outs here as we end up the podcast today. I was actually pretty glad that we were able to get a hold of both of those guys. We struck out when we tried to reach out to some of our guys at South Carolina last time. Let's see. You got
Simple Tom, I saw his name on there earlier.
Yeah, Simple Tom. Oh, Tom Drzwicki.
Tom Drzwicki.
Yeah, well, if there's anybody else on there that you want to give a shout-out to. If not, folks, we're working towards it. If you have any questions about the event.
AJ Russo.
Hi, AJ. AJ had brought up a couple things when we had talked. In fact, I think I was getting into that just before I had switched over to talking to Lou as we wrap up here. And it's about pre-registering. If you pre-register online, it's $20, and it ensures you that opportunity to go on the dyno. If you go to the local Campbell Automotive, which is on Honolulu Avenue in Montrose up until the 1st of October, and then they're moving on from October the 1st to the 12th to their new location on Foothill Boulevard, right next to the Everest, which is a restaurant. There's the old Stillmore Automotive building. You save $5. So for $15, not only can you ensure an opportunity on the dyno, but you can get the VIP check-in, which is that you literally just show up. AJ suggested that we have maybe some consideration in a different line. So if you've pre-registered, there'll be a separate area when you first come in where all you have to do is go in there, give them your license, and they'll confirm that you're on the list, and they'll give you your wristband, and you'll be good to go. And it just saves you from having to spend all that time at the main desk where the folks that haven't pre-registered are signing up. So we'll do that. We'll have a separate spot. And AJ, thank you for all your continued help. AJ's the guy with the big afro. You see him at check-in. He has a similar hairstyle as Emmanuel. You can't miss him. In fact, they look like brothers. We mentioned that E's going to be there this year. We're looking forward to the scleroderma folks coming out there and continuing to promote ways that you can not only attain awareness about that, but also how you can help. We've got F&B coming out. We'll be talking to, hopefully Frank's got a little something for us and maybe a frame that we can give away, but we're working forward and working towards a new roller giveaway. And like everything else, it's all happening before you know it. It's October the 13th, Joe's Minibike Reunion. Check us out on our Facebook page. We've got one more podcast before the show. I think it's the Wednesday before the show. What's that date, E? We'll figure that out. You think I would write that down, Ed?
7th or the 8th?
Yeah, we will have one more podcast. It's the 10th.
10th?
Yep. And we'll have a special guest. I'm talking to Alana Scher.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe joining us prior to the show. If not, we may even have some folks in town for the event, some special guests, and we'll have them on. And we'll also see if we can enlist some of the sponsors of the event, talk a little bit more about what we'll be giving away. And usually we have a cool slew of prizes. I'll be going down to Pioneer next week. I'll be heading down to Mother's Polish next week. We've reached out to our friends over at Go Power Sports and Studs and CRC, as well as a few others. Excuse me, Ed, I think it's my... I'm thirsty for more pizza. We got to eat in a hurry. Thanks for listening in, everybody. We'll be back one more time. Go to joesminibikereunion.com to register. Again, it's October the 13th. It's Joe's Minibike Reunion. It's the 7th annual, brought to you by Pioneer. Ed, anybody you want to say goodbye to, or any shout-outs you want to give before we call it a night?
I was looking here. Here's Justin Eichler's on there, James Griffin.
James.
Eric Cordova.
Remember James?
Josh Vargas.
James is the
guy
I bought the engine from. Hi, James. Hopefully you'll come to the show.
Albert Hernandez. Kyle Calkins. Jake Moe.
Jake, what's happening? I like that photo of your son in the bib. Did you see that, Ed?
Yeah.
Pretty
I saw
cool.
That.
Mo and Mo kids are wearing JMBR bibs. Did you get that? The whole Mo and... All right. Thanks. I try to be funny, That's about it.
Do you have a gold microphone?
I don't have a gold. Yeah, well, you know what you say, Ed. Hey, Ed, one last thing. You were talking about a Taco 44. If you're interested in a nice Taco 44, Evil Ed may have a line on one, somewhere around $1,700, give or take. A really nice one. Comes from a good line. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about it too, Ed, but if you guys are looking for a nice Taco 44, how can they get a hold of you, Ed?
Big Evil 1, 2, That's Big Evil 1 and the number 2.
So it's Alpha 1, Big Evil ONE,
Yes.
numeric 2.
2 at yahoo.com.
You stepping up. You got off AOL. That's great.
I hate AOL.
So you're doing good, Ed. All right, great. That's it, everybody. Thanks for listening to Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast, brought to you by Pioneer. Also, our good friends at Small Engine Cam, Stutz Performance, Go Power Sports, CRC, probably a few others, Ed. Who else did I miss? That's about it. I'll catch you the next time. Thanks for listening, everybody. Joe's Minibike Reunion podcast brought to you by Pioneer.
Later.
Joe's Minibike Show.